Well, it was the same immediate reaction we heard various French officials say after the events at Charlie Hebdo, the assassinations at Bataclan, what happened in Brussels, and now last night in Nice. Listen, putting 10,000 more soldiers on the street is going to do nothing. This is very significant, what he is saying. A few moments ago, I had the opportunity to speak to some security officials. And what's interesting about this is this attack came days after all the pomp and circumstance of the NATO summit in Warsaw, when NATO leaders recommitted themselves to wiping out terrorism. What this attack reveals in spades is the waste and obsolescence of the French security service. In fact, security services pretty much throughout the world. The question is, can these security services be reconfigured? And what the gentleman I was speaking with at the French Security Service was, no, they can't be reconfigured along the lines that's required to combat these lone wolf terrorist attacks.
There was a report, wasn't there, on French security a couple of weeks ago, suggesting that various departments should come under one umbrella, one counter-terrorism umbrella, as it were. What is the latest on there? Do you think that would make any difference?
Well, any type of coordinated response against these rogue terrorists, as, by the way, as President Erdogan pointed out a few moments ago, these guys don't distinguish whether you're Turkish, French, Muslim, Jewish, or if you're a tree worshiper. They'll go after anyone because they want body counts and kill ratios. But the problem here in France is you cannot do this without data, without metrics. And the French government still refuses to measure ethnicity, race, or religion. There's no census data. So these terror fighters have no data to work from. They don't know where to go except into a banlieue where there might be Muslim people living. There's a real lack of data in this country, as well as intelligence into these rogue operations. And that's really the problem. And the question becomes, even though we have this French parliamentarian report which says we got to change it, can it be reconfigured? And this morning, people here are scratching their heads because they don't know how to do it.
So, Craig, the state of emergency that's been extended for 3 months, do you think that will be reassuring in any way to the French people?
It's yet another bureaucratic knee-jerk reaction. We extend the state of emergency. What does that actually mean? The state of emergency as such is only enforced in areas which have high concentrations of young Muslims. That state of emergency is not being reinforced in the 16th arrondissement here in Paris. It certainly wasn't being enforced in Nice. So it's again a Potemkin village of sorts. What they're doing here, the French and indeed NATO as a unit is still trying to fight terrorism, as if these are columns of Russian tanks crossing into Germany. They're not. These are closed, isolated cells that operate in total secrecy and are impervious, as history has shown, to classic security-type infiltrations. And that's not me talking, by the way. That's what I'm hearing from security experts here in France.
Okay, Craig, thank you very much. Craig Copetas there in Paris with his thoughts and an update on the situation. You are watching TRT World, coming to you live from Istanbul with me, Paul Scott. Let's bring you bang up to date with our latest breaking news, which is coming out of France, which has suffered yet another mass terror attack, this time in the southern city of Nice on the French Riviera. At least 84 people are dead. They were killed by the driver of a truck traveling at high speed through a dense crowd. They were there to watch fireworks on a national holiday, Bastille Day. And children are among the dead. Many others have been injured, some critically. But witnesses say a truck turned onto the Promenade d'Anglaise at around 10:30 in the evening, right after the fireworks display ended. The driver then drove at the crowd. He made his way along the promenade for about 2 kilometres, apparently weaving from side to side to kill even more people. The man behind the wheel was said to be firing at people before police managed to shoot him dead. Guns and grenades were found on board. Well, this is the live scene in Nice right now. We'll hopefully be bringing that to you. The truck is still parked where the driver stopped. Christian Estrosi, the regional president of Nice, says some of the city's 1,200 security cameras have pinpointed the moment the attacker boarded the truck. And he says that's far from the seaside in the hills of Nice, and that the cameras could follow his path to the promenade. Estrosi called for the investigation to focus on any possible accomplices. And Sarai Lenny reports on another day of horror for France.
This is the moment celebrations in Nice ended. Gunshots rang out on the famed seafront Promenade des Anglais just after 10:30 in the evening. A truck was being driven at high speed down the promenade, running over anyone in the driver's way. The place was packed. Thousands of people had gone to the Riviera to watch the fireworks and celebrate Bastille Day.
The emergency services turned up half an hour later. A truck smashed into everyone. There was no security. It took the firemen 25 minutes or half an hour to arrive. We were working. It happened there on the promenade. Afterwards, there were shots and everything.
Instead of the sounds of happy families, the sounds of ambulance sirens punctuated the night, and bodies seemed to be everywhere. A trail of destruction almost 2 kilometers long.
73 victimes pour l'instant sont à déplorer.
The driver of the truck committed an action that was completely structured and premeditated, which allows us to draw certain conclusions.
À ce que tout le monde sait pour l'heure.
A local government official said weapons and grenades were found inside the unmarked truck.
The identification of the criminal is currently being worked on, as well as investigating whether or not he had accomplices. And the Paris prosecutor will present the elements of the investigation based on information that is confirmed to avoid the spread of rumors and false information.
The national holiday epitomizes the tenets of the French Republic, and today the French celebrate unity.
France is afflicted by this new tragedy. It is horrified by what has just happened. The monstrosity that consists of using a truck to kill, deliberately kill, dozens of people who were simply there to celebrate July 14th. France is in mourning. It is afflicted, but it is strong, and it will always be stronger, I assure you, than the fanatics who want to strike it today.
Mass murder like this is not uncommon in Europe anymore, and this is just one of several recent attacks. Daesh has been held responsible for those in Brussels, Paris and Istanbul. So far, there have been no claims